guys, so glad that you are here. So, you know what happened? COVID hit, and many people decided that this is going to be a good time to start tutoring online. And they began researching, and they found some different companies that they could work for, and they found some tutoring lists that they could get on. And some soon realized that in order to compete, they needed to price their services lower than they wanted to originally intend to do. And they thought that this would help them get more students. But really, lowering your prices came from a place of fear that there's not enough clients out there. It was not something that came from years of being able to tutor online. And so today I have invited some guests with me to hang out with me and share a recession-proof way to get hired as an online tutor. So are you ready to make more money with your online tutoring business? Then you're going to want to stay tuned. Hey, so welcome to our Thursday YouTube and Facebook Live, you guys. Each week we get together at the same time and the same place so that you can get free training and learn from other people that have started their own online tutoring business. And today's topic is going to be able to take you from a hobby tutor that just kind of works with a couple of kids to an expert tutor. An expert tutor is a tutor that people search out when they have a child who's struggling and all of the hobby tutors had a hard time working with. An expert tutor is one that people turn to when they've tried other avenues, but those solutions didn't work. And the frustration that their child is experiencing is so great that they're willing to put down more money to get better results. Expert tutors have realized that putting yourself on other websites like Wyzant puts you in a position to compete on price. These kinds of portals do not really set you apart from all of the other tutors that are out there. And while it can be a good start, a really good short-term strategy to get a couple of students when you're first starting out, it is a terrible long-term strategy for running your online tutoring business. Now, you've seen how big companies like McDonald's can stand out from their branding. We all know that famous M. I bet your daughter knows that famous M, Ashley. I'm sure you probably don't even eat there, but that big M, when people see it, they're like, McDonald's! And they're like, they know what they're going to get. All of a sudden, the thought of those French fries and the hamburgers comes to their mind. Now, we do have somebody who's a vegan in the house, so I apologize for the McDonald's example. But it kind of gives you that idea of what we're going to be talking about today, and that is branding. So I'm curious to know, have you guys done anything to brand with your online tutoring business? Type in the chat exactly what you've done, if you've done any branding with your business, what you've done, and do you think that it has helped you in the long run for your business? Now, I'm going to introduce you guys to both of our speakers today. We have Suzanne Davis here today, and Suzanne is an online academic writing coach. She helps kids who are in AP writing classes that are really starting to transition into writing more academically, and she helps kids with being able to write scholarships to be able to get into the type of college that they want to be able to get into. And Suzanne wasn't one of those people that you would call a hare in the tutoring business. She was one of those people who was in it for the long run and was willing to take the steps that she needed to really establish herself as an expert in her field. And I remember one time she was asking me this question. She's like, when did I become known as an expert? I have all these people now reaching out to me. And it's because she's actually practiced what we're going to be talking about today. And that's why I've invited Suzanne to be able to join us and talk about branding. And we also have Ashley Dimercurio here. And Ashley is a mom who homeschools her own children at home. Not that you homeschool other people's children at home usually, but you know. And she is also an online reading tutor that has really established herself. She's actually in a local blog of a mom group where she's able to give advice and tips and help other people and share what it is that she does to be able to kind of like help her own children in reading, along with things that she does to help her students with reading, and really getting literacy out there in a really big way. She's got a great Instagram presence, so you can just find her on Instagram under your reading tutor, correct?
Reading Tutor Ashley on Instagram.
Reading Tutor Ashley on Instagram. Check it out. She's got a great presence on there, and you'll start seeing some of the branding that she's actually done on there. Now, why is branding important, you guys? Branding is important because it sets you apart. Now, I don't want you guys to completely think that your brand is just a logo, right? Like, that's a piece of it, but it's not all of it. It's only a part of it. The other part of that brand is you. And it's all about really feeling comfortable about putting yourself out there, along with things that help you stick out. So your own image is going to help you stick out. Your logo is going to help you stick out. The colors that you use, those are going to help you stick out. And I know that a lot of you are like, gosh, how do I get students from all over the world? Well, when you start creating content, you guys, and you have these certain elements that we're going to be talking about that help you create your brand, and you're branding yourself versus trying to work for another company, you make more money and you get more referrals. And so this is a huge win-win, because no longer are people going to be like, oh, just go on to Wyzant. You'll be able to find a great tutor. They'll be like, you know what? You need to call Ashley. She is awesome at this. And that is the really big difference here. And that's what I know lots of people want to have, that kind of recognition versus the other one, which is going to make you a lot less money. So at this point, a lot of you guys have been branding yourselves and trying to put some of these pieces into practice. And today we're going to be talking about some experts who have really found a great solution for putting all of these pieces together. So if you start putting in these branding practices that you're going to be learning about into your business, into your online tutoring business, you're going to start branding you. You're not going to be branding somebody else or something else. It's not I work for, it is your company. It is you. And that is what's going to make you stand out from all of the other tutors that are out there. Now, today's YouTube Live is sponsored by Branding University. Now, Branding University, you guys, is a new course that Suzanne Davis and Ashley Dimercurio created that leads you into creating your own brand, so that you brand you instead of promoting other companies. And these amazing ladies are going to be hosting a free webinar next Wednesday, July 22nd, 4:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 Eastern Time. And they're going to be sharing 3 tips about branding that you can't afford to miss. So our wonderful Beth is going to put a link inside of the in the chat, so that you guys, if you're interested in signing on up for that webinar, you will be able to do so. All right, you guys. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what branding specifically is. What is branding to you?
I can start. You want me to start? To me, branding is all about helping people to know, like, and trust me. So that I have built my business around that concept of people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so for me, I want my brand and my whole branding strategy to be based around that. Like, how can I get people to know me, recognize my work, recognize my posts? I want them to get to know me. So I have to tell them about me more than just I'm a teacher, more than just, and the trust factor is sharing, being consistent with my brand, and sharing like testimonials and having people, be able to read what other parents are experiencing. So for me, branding is like, it all plays into that, that strategy for me.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it first starts with what you want others to see in you. So it's like this combination of, not just what others see in you in the beginning, but who you are that you want to communicate. And that comes through in everything. It comes through in what you write on your website or in a blog, how you share your story too. Because I think, as you were saying, like a key piece of branding is our story, is our experiences, and being able to communicate that visually in writing and in what we say.
Right. So when you're working on developing your brand, like Joanne already said, logo is just part of that, right? But you're pulling in all these different pieces, your colors and your logo and how you post, like your voice in your copy. That's all part of your brand. And I know for me, I wanted clients to see me as fun and energetic, but also like an expert and professional and creative. Because to me, that is something that helps me sort of stand apart. Is I'm not going to just tutor every child the same exact way. I'm really creative and I pull in lots of different resources and ways to engage them in the lesson. So that's what I want to promote in my brand also.
Yeah. And for me, it's similar. Like I have certain characteristics that I want people to know about me. So I want them to know that, I'm empathetic, that I've been through a lot of the same situations or a similar situation that they've been through with writing. And I want them to see that I'm creative, that I'm always different, I'm always trying new things, and I'm willing to adapt to the different things that people need. And then also just that I know what I'm doing. I'm competent, I'm smart.
Right.
I write well. That's another thing.
For sure.
And that is extremely important to your brand. Like if you didn't have copy out there where it portrayed you as writing well, that would destroy your brand, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got to come through with expertise, but in a way that says I'm an expert, but I can really teach you well about this. This isn't a mystery. You can be the same as me.
And so kind of on the flip side, I feel like I don't have to be perfect. I don't feel the same kind of pressure because obviously I'm a teacher and I want my work to be correct, but I also want moms to know that I'm a mom just like you and you don't have to be a teacher to be able to work with your kids. Like I can help you support your children at home. And I have moms that come on and they're so flustered because their child's like making noise in the background. And I'm always like, it's okay. Like I have little kids too. Celia totally bombed one of my lessons this morning, and I'm like, see, like I'm just like you, and so that's part of my brand is for moms to feel like they can relate to me and they can feel comfortable with me and that we are almost, that we're working together. That's what I really want.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys both do such a great job of really being consistent with your brand. How important do you guys think consistency is?
It's crucial. You want to really give people that sense of they like you, just like Ashley was saying, that know, like, and trust factor. And so the more you can build that connection by being consistent with them, the more they come to trust you and seek your help. I get questions from the same people over and over again. They're like these fans that they come to me with this specific thing because I've been creating content in what they need and in what they want to learn.
Wait, so you mentioned this term fans, and I know that I think you've read the same book that I have, Super Fans.
I haven't finished it, but yes.
Such a great book.
It is.
And so what can you tell us about like what a super fan is and how it relates to your branding?
Well, a super fan is somebody who really cheers on everything you do. Maybe they're not purchasing the most expensive thing from you, but they are seeking you. They do usually buy something and are liable to buy more. They're your clients that you tutor, but then they're also outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the people that tell other people about you. And they're the people that will kind of defend you if somebody else is putting something negative in there. They
Yeah,
really
I love you
feel
guys that are
like,
my super fans, by the way.
oh yeah. I think I was a super fan before I knew the term super fan. I was an early super fan.
You are. You're still a super fan. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool. So this is what we're creating, you guys. So in the book, Super Fans, okay, who's the author? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Oh, Pat. Oh,
I haven't read it.
Pat,
I'm
yes.
gonna look it up.
You're correct. First name is correct.
Yeah, okay. Do you know the last name?
No. But if I go to my Audible, I'll be able to find it.
Pat Flynn.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, Pat Flynn, and he's a Star Trek fan. So I know that about his personality too.
Right, because that's part of his brain. He actually has, when you go to like different events and stuff, he'll have like a Star Trek theme, or he just like randomly will like has conversations with people a lot easier because they'll be like, oh, like I know that you are, a Star Trek fan, and they start talking about that, and those are the things that really make you stand out as your brand. Like me, I'm a crocheter. I love to crochet. I was actually about to buy a shirt yesterday that said, yarnologist.
Yarnologist.
I'm currently making a new blanket with this nice soft yarn.
Oh.
But it's like these are the things when people get to know like who you are, what it is, what you like to do, they start feeling like they know you a little bit more as a person versus somebody who you have to compete against a price with. It really starts personalizing and humanizing who you are. And so I think this is a big why of why we should be doing some branding. Now, I know, Ashley, you originally had worked for another company, and it was a great start as you were kind of moving into this online tutoring world. See, do I even like it? Lots of people will do that. What makes working for or with that other company different from branding with your own business?
Yes. Well, I mean, one big thing is that when you're working for another company, you are affiliated with them. Your brand, their brand is your brand. Your brand is their brand. Like you can't really do much to separate yourself from the pack. Like you are sort of clumped into that group. And I know the company that I was working for has that like bright orange color as one of their logo colors, and it's so everybody, I feel like if you see it in your newsfeed, that's who they work for, and so if you love that color, hate that color, it doesn't matter, right? Like you are representing that company. So I felt like that is one like obvious difference is when you're doing your own branding, you get to develop your brand that makes sense to you and represents you, and you can feel really authentic, I guess is the right word. Like you feel really authentic in your company and your brand because you made it yourself. It's like from you, right? So that is a big difference. And I felt like on that platform, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me I wasn't really in control of what was being put out about me. Like the company did a lot of that stuff behind the scenes. They decided what of my videos or which of my pictures were being posted to the parent platform. They're the ones who kind of, that company would assign tags to the teachers for searching, but they would decide those tags. So it's not like I couldn't say I want to be represented as creative and fun and energetic. They would pick whatever they decided you were from watching you teach, So I felt like this allows me to really showcase my personality more because I'm picking all of those elements. I'm deciding what I put out about myself, and there's no with that company you had to follow their specific curriculum. So if I disagreed with it, as a teacher, like on a professional level, an expert level, I don't believe this is what's best for the kids. Too bad. Like you still had to teach it that way because you had to follow their curriculum. And so I feel like when you're developing your own brand, it gives you so much more freedom because then you can just really show what you bring to the table.
Right. And that makes such a big difference. Like you said, like you can recognize that other company based off that color that they use, but now you get to decide with your own brand what colors are you going to be using. You get to decide what hashtags are going to represent you. You really get to think about, what it is that you want to represent, and people can't take any of those aspects away. That's kind of cool. You have all of that creative intelligence for yourself versus somebody else kind of dictating it and kind of feeling like part of the masses, right? Versus an individual who has a lot to offer.
Right, exactly. When I worked for that company, I felt like, they have millions, probably thousands of teachers, let's say, and I did just feel like one of the many. But now with my own company, like it just feels like mine. And it's possible somebody else might be doing something similar to me or using similar colors, but I feel like when you're branding your own business, like it's you, it's your personality. Nobody can be you, right? Like you're the only you. So
you are the only you.
I'm so cheesy.
I love it though. You are the only you. We are all unique. And this is actually why your new course is called Branding University. Y-O-U. University. Ha ha ha. So creative on the wording there. Because we are all about branding you guys versus you kind of fitting into a box. None of you should fit into a box. There's so many things that make you explode out of the box that people need to know about. And it's the fun side of you that is going to excite people to want to be able to work with you. All right. So why should tutors not skip branding?
Because you won't be recognized as the person that's like the go-to person in that particular field. I did this with blogging because with blogging, it's so important with the colors that you use, your writing style, all of those things are what make people recognize this work comes from you. This is who you are. And so what I picked was a little bit unusual, but that's me. So, and to be able to do that consistently and kind of repeat that, when you watch commercials on TV, you notice that branding that is consistent going over and over and over again. And so for us, by creating consistency, by being consistent with who we are and the types of things that we talk about, say, teach, and then the colors, that visual aspect, they get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're promoting yourself on social media is noisy, right? I mean, like in the big picture, noisy. Like there's a lot of people there. There's all kinds of different platforms, and so you by picking a logo, by picking your colors and being consistent, people will begin to recognize you, and you will be able to stand out amongst all the noise, right? And it takes a long time for people. It takes a lot of exposures, I guess, to your message, to your brand, for it to like really sink in. And so you want to facilitate that as quick as possible, right? You want people to see that teal, purple, and gold color and think that's Ashley, like that's her post, like. And I even go so far as to I get pens in those colors. So if I'm taking pictures of my workspace, that those colors are popping into any images I'm doing. I'm actually going to be doing a brand photo shoot later this summer, and I'm planning on purchasing some clothing that is my brand colors. And, so all of those elements, I just try to really immerse myself in it as a way to remind me to keep putting it out there, because earlier you mentioned about having a super fan, and I have had some really good success by branding myself. People know in this area that what I do. And so now if a mom posts in a mom's group or on her Facebook page or somebody I maybe even don't know or wouldn't even see that post, I've got people out there that are immediately, they think of me when they see a post about a reading tutor, and they're tagging me and commenting, Ashley's your girl, go here. And that is the best, right? That's what we all want, is people out there helping us with our marketing and promoting us.
Yeah. Now, I would say the tutors that I have the most difficult time helping get known from all over the world are the ones that can't do the branding. And Edamola, who's joining us on YouTube right now, she had mentioned that she's in Africa, she's working in a school district, and she's not allowed to promote herself as a tutor in addition. And that is an unfortunate situation. There isn't anything that we can do when it comes to branding, when it comes to that. If you can't put yourself out there fully and be you, we can't help you with branding. So it really does come down to a decision. Do I want to do tutoring, or do I want to do tutoring in this capacity where I'm really going to go all out? I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting my picture on everything. I'm putting my name. I'm stamping it. I am me. I am letting the world know here I am. Or do I want to be more of a hobby tutor where I can just like do small postings here and there, like on Craigslist, get a couple students here and there and play with those smaller platforms? You could do that and still probably keep your job and not be like breaking any kind of like policies. But what we're talking about today is really a topic for those people that are ready to go all out. They are not scared to put their picture on their image out on social media. They're not scared to be able to talk about who they are, what it is that they do, how they can be of service, and they can really go all out on branding themselves. It really is a difference between playing big and playing small. And if you are locked into a school system right now, you may have to play small because you don't want to risk losing your job. So there are different audiences that are following us right now, and I just kind of wanted to make that distinction that this isn't going to be a strategy that you'd be able to keep and use if you're scared of losing your job. Right?
Right.
This is a strategy for that full-time tutor that is like, I want students from all over the world, and I want to be book solid all of the time. And I don't have like another job that's kind of holding me back from that. Now, both of you guys actually worked in the school system, didn't you? Actually, you did work in the school system and you left.
Yeah, I left after like 6 years. My son was about 2 years old, and I was having a lot of trouble balancing home, family, mom life with a teaching career. And I know there are so many teachers out there that are also moms and that can handle it and do a great job. It wasn't working for me and my family. And I found there was, I was having to work on the weekends, and I resented being away from my kid for that time. And I found it to just not be great for my mental health. I felt like I was always failing someone, right? If I was staying home with my sick child, then I was having to write sub-plans, and I was failing, I wasn't there for the kids. And if I was in school, but I felt like I should be home with my family, then I felt like I was letting them down, and I just couldn't reconcile that. So that is when I decided to take some time away. And at that time, I thought I was done teaching. I actually pretty much stopped teaching, and I was working as a Beachbody coach and being a stay-at-home mom and writing for the blog, and not really, it was more like a side thing. And I thought that I thought I was done teaching. So it's kind of amazing to see the journey to now and how I'm teaching again, and in such an amazing, powerful, life-changing way. So now I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah. And I had that mama guilt too. I mean, it ate at me and ate at me and ate at me. And it ate at me so bad, you guys, that I ended up getting this pain in my side. And I was in and out of the hospital, and I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I felt like a pretty calm and relaxed person. Just didn't realize how much that unbalance in my life was causing anxiety of me wanting to be with my kids, but me also wanting to do what I love to do in the school system. It was crazy. And so I ended up leaving the school system. Same thing. I honestly didn't know if I'd ever go back to teaching, because I was like, well, if it's caused this, because I couldn't think of anything else in my life. I had been through therapy and everything else, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. I'm like, it's obviously caused some kind of stress and anxiety inside of me that I now cannot control. It's out of my control. I really didn't think I was going to go back to teaching. And had no idea that God kept telling me, though, that I was going to start school, and I had no idea what he meant by that. And I was just like, what? Start school? Like, that's ridiculous. I had no idea what was intended on his heart when he said that. And now look, I get to be able to help a whole bunch of tutors, and we have, we meet each week where we are constantly learning and growing together. And I get to work with my students one-on-one, where it's kind of like their own personalized school that they get. And I can't imagine a life that would be better than that. So it's really, really awesome. And you were in the college system, right, Suzanne?
Yes, yes, and I did really like it. I mean, I did really find it's more creative in a sense, and I could do more my own teaching than I could in a public school. And so that's why I really was drawn to that. And I loved working with students who are at that point in their lives. But it was hard because it was really hard to keep up all those hours and all of the students that I would get, because I would get large class sizes. I was teaching writing, so I wanted to meet individually with students every week. So that 2-hour office hour time was not enough. And, I would be doing like 10 hours of office hours. So my health was really deteriorating at that point, and that's why I was drawn to being able to work on my own schedule, really take the amount of clients that I could handle and give them that one-on-one or small group attention.
That like being able to make your own schedule and decide what hours works for you, that is such like the biggest perk. I feel like no matter who you are in your life, like if you have kids or you don't have kids or married, single, like just being able to control your own time and decide on a work schedule and the hours that really work for you is such a gift. Like,
It's absolutely.
I feel like my kids are growing up with a home that both parents have that. We have this time flexibility. Sometimes I think they don't know how lucky they are. Like I've actually said to Michael, other kids' parents like work 9 to 5 every day, like out of the house, and you'd go to daycare. Like, so you be grateful, kid.
Right? They can't be grateful for that which they don't even know doesn't exist. And so, that's always the tough thing. And
he doesn't remember, right? He was just a baby when he was in childcare. So.
Nope, exactly. Totally doesn't remember. And, but I do think that flexibility, when you do start branding yourself and doing that is definitely one of the perks. It's got to be like one of the whys, like when you put like that picture, like, why do I want to do this? Why?
Right. And once I started really branding myself and like, I originally came out with a logo, and then I think maybe like 6 or 8 months in, I sort of changed it when things started like scaling up. I rebranded it, very similar logo, but just cleaned it up a little bit and started really sinking into that like idea of branding myself. That actually helped me to set more boundaries with my business too, because prior to that, I was sort of just taking any student that came to me and I was working, oh, sure, you want Sunday at 10? Great, I'll do work Sunday at 10. You want Monday, 9 p.m.? Sure, I'll do that. I just took all the clients anytime, it didn't matter. But once I sort of really started focusing on my brand, I was able to say no to people. Recently an adult student came to me. I just don't work with adults. And I was able to just say, I'm sorry, I don't work with adults, but let me help you find someone who does,
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I don't feel uncomfortable for turning them away. I don't feel like I had to take them. Like, that's not my ideal client,
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. I had so many people telling me.
I
had so many people telling me in the beginning, trying to create my brand for me. Like, oh, you should have other tutors work for you. You should have, you should teach adults. You should do this. You should do that. And I'm just like, it was hard trying to navigate my brand for me with all that noise. But I'm so glad that I stuck through it and began to start thinking about, okay, what is it who is it that I want to work with? So my brand is not just about like colors and theme and that, but it is my voice. It is who am I talking to? It is all of those things that you guys talked about. And so because you guys now have a consistent brand, what are some of the results that you've gotten because of your brand?
Well, definitely for me, it's like getting visibility with other people, being able to get in front of other audiences. Other bloggers have noticed me on Facebook. People noticed me, and so I was starting to get interviews. Like one of the people who interviewed me, she literally said, I was looking for somebody who could talk about academic writing, and you're the expert with that. And I was like, oh, okay. So that branding. And like I said, it's not just the visual aspect, but the types of things that I would say, how I communicate really did give me more of those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And clients, they, people who are following me that become clients, they associate the colors with me. They associate how I talk. They'll come into a consultation already ready to hire me because they've already gotten a sense of who I am.
And it's funny that you say that, because the very first question that, when I was able to finally turn on my chat on my OBS, the very first question I had gotten from somebody was, what are some of the tips to share on what's working for you to get clients? This is it. This is this one tip that we're sharing with you, branding, is a way to get clients. A lot of people think that you want to that they're going to be hired right away as soon as somebody sees you. It's the biggest misconception, I think, that's out there, that when we start our business, as soon as people see us, they're going to hire us. Nope.
Yeah. Nope. I learned pretty early on that I had to think differently. And I was on Pinterest, because I was always on Pinterest, and I read an author, Mira Cothan, and she talked about, in order to, not just to think of yourself as just advertising, but in order to get people coming to you, it's that building of a brand, and put a lot of time and effort into that branding so that you become associated with whatever field that you're trying to get clients in, or that you're selling a program in.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, yeah, I don't want to be doing advertising all the time.
Right.
I'm going to develop this brand.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I had a coaching client this week, and one of her questions was, does there ever come a time when you can just stay fully booked with as many hours as you want without having to excessively market yourself? And I'm like, yeah. That's, you can, with getting yourself out there, being consistent, building your social media presence, and at this point, what I said to her was, if I have an opening in my schedule for some reason, then I will market that opening and say, wow, this never happens. I have an opening in my schedule, if you're interested in working with me, let's do that now, because this is going to fill up. And I can say that with full honesty, it will fill up. My caseload is very full at this point. And they're probably every week I get inquiries now. So,
yeah.
And that's all because of developing my brand and developing my being consistent, getting on social media, making sure everybody I know knows who I am and what I do.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yes.
And isn't it awesome that you don't have to be someone else? You can be you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that in and of itself is drawing people to you.
Yep, absolutely. And for that person that asked that question for you, I have not advertised my business probably in 2 years now with my online reading tutoring. And I'm so book solid.
As I said, I'm sure Joanne doesn't really market for tutoring anymore, but she still gets people coming to her.
I don't have the time. I've really put my heart and my soul into really helping tutors that in my week, I don't have the extra time to then market my online reading tutoring business. And it's gotten to the point where I'm able to help tutors so much with their businesses that if I were to lose teaching reading to students, I'd be okay without the marketing. And if I ever wanted it to re-up my game there, I always could.
Yeah.
Right.
It wouldn't be hard to do that, which is really, really awesome. So what are some of the results that you got, Ashley, because of your branding?
Very similar to what Suzanne is saying, the steady stream, my funnel, so to speak. I have people coming to me. I mentioned before that people know what I do, and so they're tagging me in posts. I actually this summer got a client because 4 local moms that know me through social media mostly. Some of them I've met in person just through events and stuff, but tagged me and said, she's the best. This is who you want. You got to get her. And the client emailed me that day and said, I was so impressed by all of the moms commenting. I posted one little post and you had all these people singing your praises, And there were other good tutors being, recommended as well. And even some people with better, or higher qualifications, multiple master's degrees or working in college, different things. But because of the way that the other moms were recommending me, and then she was able to go to my website and learn about me and watch a video of me and like get a feel for my personality. She hired me. I mean, it wasn't even, she just hired me. Like, it was
I love
done,
it.
you know? So
Yeah.
that was amazing.
That is, and that's all a part of the branding, you guys. It's so critical. So how difficult is it to create a brand, would you say?
I don't think it's particularly difficult, but I do think it takes time.
So consistency.
I would agree with that 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't just like
Because
put
you
yourself
already know
out there.
who you are and who you want to help and how you want to help them. So if you've got that essentially, then the rest of it it's relatively easy to keep it up and be consistent. The closer it is to who you want to be, the easier that whole branding aspect is. The hard part is staying consistent and doing it for the long term.
Right. And, you know, we talked about like the academic side of our business and getting new clients and stuff. But earlier I had said that it's 3 parts, right? It's the know, like, and trust. And so that like piece is super important too. And by telling people about your interests and things you like everybody knows I drink coffee. Like that is part of my brand, that I'm like the caffeinated reading tutor here, you know? And so people will tag me in like funny memes about coffee or like, so those are results. Like you want people thinking about you. Right? So that you're in their brain and whatever it is, if it's for a reading tutor, but if something is coming up and they're like, oh, they see a funny coffee joke and they tag you, like then that's part of your brand. Like you've developed that.
And the brand then does lead to, like Elizabeth just mentioned, that her brand has actually led to people referring her. Like people who've never worked with her before necessarily now referring her. So it's like that's awesome. And we get that a lot inside of like the Insider Secrets Club, where people connect and get to know each other and then they can refer each other because they know each other. But when a lot of tutors are really scared to like really give a referral of another tutor that they don't really know. When you invest your time into branding yourself, that's when you kick it up a notch. I really feel like it makes a huge difference. How about for you, Suzanne? How difficult was it to create your brand?
Well, before I knew about brands, it was a little bit more challenging because I first thought it was just a logo. But once I realized it's really about me, starting with that piece, then I could make really good decisions. And it was really easy from that point on to do it, but just to be doing it consistently.
I also feel like it's important to say that you don't, like you were saying, you didn't know right away exactly what it meant to brand your business. And so you had to learn that. So I'm guessing you watched other people, you read books, you read blog posts, you explored social media, like you did all kinds of things, right? And that would be the same for me. Like I've been working on mindset. I read professional development books, you know, books about entrepreneurs. I'm following other entrepreneurs on Instagram and social media. And so don't feel like because you don't know what to do right now, or you're like, oh, I thought brand was just logo. Like that just means you don't know what to do yet, right? Like you can learn how to build your brand.
Yeah,
and we want to help.
Exactly.
Yes, we do. Yes.
We can help
because
you.
There's so many times I want to tell a tutor, you know, oh, you can get this. Yes, you can have people saying that you're an expert, but take the time to do something long term and build your brand.
Now, when we build our brand, we do get lots of people who are outside of our ideal clients that will request our services. And Make Sense Tutoring just asked this question: would you turn down a client that doesn't fit your ideal client, and how would you do this? They're new, so they're going to they want to be open to going outside of their niche if needed. What advice would you give them?
Oh, it depends. If I think I can tutor the student well, that client, like right now I'm doing middle school, and that's not something I normally would do, but because I know this situation and, you know, I want to try it, then I'll do it, you know. But if it's something where I think, oh my gosh, you know, yes, I could teach this, but I really don't want to, then I just say, I'm not the best fit for you. But by now I know somebody who is.
Right.
Yeah.
Poor Elaine Lingard has gotten referrals from me, and she's now teaching 30 hours a week. So I can't recommend her anymore. I think
I've referred to her too. I've referred to her for clients for math. People come to me for math, and I don't tutor math. I could probably tutor like little kid math, but I don't like it. I don't have any curriculum around it. I wouldn't feel confident or good at it. So I'd much rather give that client to someone else for sure. And I don't know, like I have taken on students before that weren't exactly in my target market, and sometimes you regret it, right? But sometimes you feel like it doesn't feel like you don't flow well. It doesn't jive. You're sort of like, oh, this feels clunky. And so I sometimes wish in the past, like pre-branding, I did take whoever came my way, just whatever, any student, any age, I just did. And now I don't, because I've learned that it doesn't work as well. I'm not as effective. And even I have a student right now that's a high school level student, and that's really not my target market, but I felt like I could help them because they needed some foundational reading work, which really that's my area of strength. So I took them on. I've been working with them. It's going great. I feel like he's almost ready to exit my program. He's made so much progress. And I was honest with the mom. I said, I think after this summer, I would like to help you find a tutor that specializes in high school level students, because I think he's sort of like outgrown my area of expertise.
Sure. Yeah. And all you want is the best for your student at the end of the day. It's not about the rest of it, right? Because you're going to be able to fill the spot with somebody else, and what your capabilities are. And I would say taking on clients that weren't a good fit for me in the beginning was great for clarity. Because I began to realize, who do I enjoy working with? Because you don't really know that unless you start working with people who aren't in your comfort zone. But but if you already know they're not in your comfort zone, don't take them on. Like, definitely don't take them on. It's going to be a big headache for you.
Right. From when I worked for a company before, when I was not, when I was working for the other company, they made decisions about who my students were. We weren't allowed to pick our students, which is a huge reason I stopped working for them, because I would have these really adorable, little first graders that I love working with that age. And they'd be struggling to book me, competing with these other, older kids that maybe weren't who I felt like I really wanted to be working with. And I didn't have any say over that. So they would schedule people, that weren't my target market, weren't the type of, or the age group that I felt the most confident in. And I couldn't do anything about that. I had to just teach them and muddle through and, do the best I could. But I feel like now that I'm working for myself, like that's a huge perk. I can say no to clients that I don't feel like I'm qualified to work for, work with.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of, Elaine Frances Lingard just joined us on in, and she said, "Hello, ladies." She must have heard her name mentioned, which is like, and then like she like logged in. Like, how cool is that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been so great.
Good things about Elaine.
Yes. I feel like it's been so great to be able to refer people. Like I love that I'm in a position now where people are coming to me that I can refer out. Like that I think I've referred 2 math students have come to me and one person even said, I know you don't teach math, but maybe you can help. So it's a part of my brand is helping parents. I want to support parents. I want to help them be engaged in their child's learning. And so that is part of my brand. Now parents are coming to me for help, even if they know I don't teach that subject. So I'm able to refer. And I think that's really an amazing part of our community.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys, I have something that's really exciting that we're going to be talking about. It's so cool. This last point that we're going to be talking about today, you are not going to want to tune out, because it's if you've ever said to yourself something like, "But I'm not very creative," we got you. Okay, so keep listening. So as you guys know, Ashley and Suzanne, they have this new course that's coming on out. It's called Branding University, and they're going to be hosting a free webinar next Wednesday, July 22nd, 4:30 p.m. Central, 5:30 Eastern. And it's called 3 Tips About Branding You Can't Afford to Miss. And we got a link already in there for you if you guys want to be able to sign up and make sure that you get a seat. Even if you can't join us live, I will give you guys a replay for 5 days. So sign on up, and then we can at least send you the replay if you're not able to join us live for that. Now, when I first got started, you guys, I didn't know how to use like these difficult tools like Adobe, or like they like I would go and I'd play with them, like those like drawing tools and things on the computer. I would go on in and I would play with them, and I'd be like, okay, and then I'd be like done, because I'm like, I don't know where to find this or that. Like, how do I create pictures that look like that? Like, how is it that like other people's like YouTube channels, like they have like this amazing picture of themselves, and mine always looks like this? I'm like, how do they get that thingy on there? Like, I didn't understand any of that. And it was so frustrating. But as soon as I began learning about the tools that I can use and how I can use them effectively, it changed everything. Everything. So you guys, what are some tools that you can use to brand yourself?
I know that both Suzanne and I love Canva. So that's going to be a big part of our course. And I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for both of us now. We're very excited to help tutors with Canva, because we get it. Like, it takes time to learn, and there's all these little hacks. And even last night in my Jumpstart call, we had some time to look at some flyers from some of the students. And I said, oh, well, you should just put like a little element behind that text so people can read it better. And she was kind of like, huh? I was like, oh, let me just show you, just like this, boop, boop, boop. And these are all little hacks that I've learned, but it's through like time and making stuff and playing with it and learning. And so through working with us and through this course, you will be able to learn a lot of our expert tips.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely Canva. It's very powerful for free. And I think as you learn it, it's not hard. I have to say, like Photoshop, there were a bunch of things out there that scared the living daylights out of me. Because I have a friend and he's a graphic designer, and like all of the things he uses. And I was like, I can't afford somebody else to do that. I've got to be able to do this myself, or have somebody else learn it really easily with my pieces. And so Canva is really the best tool for that. And then I think, when you're doing branding with videos, there's certain things like Ashley and Sam are really good with learning how to do the branding for the videos. And so there's different things like that. So I don't know what tools you use. I know you use Canva for some of it.
Yeah, and there's going to be a bonus in our course with some content from Sam around live streaming assets and YouTube, branding yourself on YouTube, how to make those things in Canva. And so that'll be cool. He's not here today. He's wrangling kids, but.
Which actually, you guys saw some branding today. I was using WeVideo at the beginning. You saw a clip of like just my intro, right? Where it had the branding, it had the colors, it had all of that. Like, once you choose like what your colors are going to be and why you're choosing them for the right reasons which you guys go over is the psychology of colors. That helps you then to just plug in those colors everywhere you go. And so that's what I did inside of WeVideo with the video that I had created. And so using tools like WeVideo, you can kind of create branding. Like, once you know your branding numbers, so each color has a code. And once you know that code, you can plug it into all of your stuff all the tools that you use. Right. And it's the same all the time. You just like click it and boom, there it is. So we've got Canva, we've got WeVideo. Anybody use remove.bg? Another free tool.
I haven't used that one yet.
Love it.
Is that for removing background on your images? Because now Canva Pro can do that, which I do have. But I used the free Canva for a long time.
Yes. Oh, I love the Canva Pro. My end was kind of like, it sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't work. Like, it's like if I put a gray background on there, or if I I don't know, there are some things where it's really good at, and there are some things that it's not good at. And I feel
Tell me the name of yours again. Tell me what it's called so I can look it up.
remove.bg. So I do it for every single. I actually did it for the image that you're going to see today on our video here. Once this all loads up, you're going to see pictures. It's just a picture of Ashley, and it's just a picture of Suzanne. There's no background noise in that image, and what I did was I took a picture that Ashley gave me, and I put it into remove.bg, just upload it. 2 seconds later, I get it without the background.
Oh.
Wow.
And then I can
That's
plug
really
it on
cool.
in, and I put it into all of my my images and my JPEGs and all of that. So really cool tool. You guys have to check it out. Remove.bg.
I will, for sure.
Elaine says that she signed up for the webinar.
Elaine, did you see that? Is that who you said? Elaine? Yeah.
Yep, Elaine signed up for the webinar. She says there's bound to be some extra tips I can pick up from you guys. There is bound to be. You know what? This is what I love about you guys. Elaine and Lynn and Beth, you guys are constantly like commenting in here. I love you guys. Sasha, thank you so much for all of the commenting and the conversations that you guys are bringing on up inside of the chats. What I love about every single one of you is that deep desire to want to continue to learn. And I think this is what's so cool is I've had so many people say to me, but I'm just going to hire somebody to do this, and I'm going to hire somebody to do that, and I'm going to hire somebody to do that. And like, I'm just like, please don't, because you don't know who you're hiring. How do you know when you're hiring somebody that they have the skills that are necessary to make you stand out the way that you need to stand out? How do you know that?
Right. And I feel like your voice and your brand, it's so personal. Like there are things that you can outsource, but I feel like your content in our field, like that is hard for somebody else to take on, I think. You know, I definitely have someone who helps me with Pinterest, and she's amazing. And she's like a friend though. Like I've known her, I've worked with her on the blog. She knows me, she's followed me for a while. She has kids. Like, so I feel comfortable with her helping me with my pins because, you know, she's taking my content that I'm making and then making pins out of it. So she's not making the content for me.
And you already knew how to do the skill that she's probably doing.
Right.
And were able to teach it to her so that it could get done in a way that was what you kind of wanted to begin with. And then you started trusting what she was able to output, you know, and I think that's the really, really important part. Like when you are outsourcing, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. Absolutely. You want to outsource some stuff. But in the beginning, we got a big learning curve. And if you don't know what you're doing, you need to learn it. And then once you know it, then you can teach somebody else. You can outsource it. And you don't have to pay that somebody else to do it for a lot of money. Because guess what? A lot of this stuff actually doesn't take a lot of like brain power. Okay. So when you learn how to do it for yourself and then you teach it to somebody else, oh my gosh, you could hire somebody for $5 or $6 to do some of this stuff for you.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you guys.
You know, where so many designers use Canva and they charge you so much more.
Right.
I'm just going to learn this.
Exactly.
It can't be that hard.
Right. Well, and even my website, like I'm having someone help me clean up my website a little bit because I'm on WordPress, which I'm not an expert in WordPress. It's difficult, and I'm working on learning it, but it's taking a long time. So anyway, I'm hiring someone, but the person I'm hiring specifically is also going to give me video tutorials of everything she does on my website so that I can learn and watch those tutorials. So then I don't have to depend on her forever. It's more of like a one-time investment, like paying for a teacher. She's going to teach me how to do the things that I need updated, and then I'll be able to, you know, use those skills going forward.
Yeah, there's so many things with WordPress once you learn to do them.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do them on your own, and you don't need somebody else. You know, because with WordPress, there's so many, you know, WordPress consultants out there that, you know, they're doing what I could watch in a course. And no, you know, and they're charging so much more money.
Right. So think about how much value you're adding.
Yeah.
Like you're actually adding value to your brand when you learn this stuff. And Catherine, you make an awesome point. There is so much great, awesome stuff that we're constantly doing. So think about us as an educational company. When you're ready to learn what it is that you need to learn, we'll be here for you. Okay. I think that's the important thing. Like she's part of Jumpstart and the Reading Interventionist right now. And so lots of things sometimes are going on to your plate and you have to decide. And then I had to do the same thing when I was getting started is I had to think about what tool do I need to learn next, or what is it that I need to know next to take my business to the next level. And the cool thing is a lot of these courses you will have when you need them. So if you wanted to purchase them now and then focus on one later, at a later time, you could do that as well. And then you have all of it ready for when you're ready for it. And I think that's really, really key. So glad that you are joining us in this education journey, Catherine Dickens. And I just want to say thank you guys for joining us and sharing what you know about branding and how important it is for us to brand and why should we be branding? Because I think that, it gets skipped because people don't understand why, how, what. They're always asking the question, how do I get clients? Well, if you skip this step, you're going to struggle with getting clients. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that it's like, I want to build a foundation to my house, but I just want to build the house. Well, if you skip the foundation, you're going to have a house that's going to fall down. Okay. And so this is the foundation right here, this foundational stuff that we're teaching you so that you can be successful. So again, if you haven't had the opportunity yet to sign up for the 3 tips about branding that you can't afford to miss, that's next Wednesday, July 22nd, 4:30 p.m. Central, 5:30 Eastern. Please make sure to sign up for that. Our wonderful Elizabeth is going to throw on in that link one more time. And I wish you guys just the best. I can't wait for this webinar. It's going to be really awesome.
Yeah, we're pumped. We're excited.
We are so excited. We've been working on this and we're ready.
And the course too, it feels like exactly what so many people in our community need. They want that more like high touch guidance with Canva. And so we have just been designing, a lot of the branding, the lessons around Canva and how we can help people be able to use it more effectively. Yeah. So we're excited.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.